Hey there. So wherever possible with these videos, I do like to reflect some of the questions and the queries and the worries that crop up in emails and telephone inquiries that we have direct to Wednesday's Child. And there's been a few that have come up of late from people at various stages of employment because of where we are with lockdown. So several people have contacted me from a circumstance of being furloughed and being at home. And one that I ended up in a dialogue with somebody yesterday about was to do with whether or not they should disclose to their HR manager that they are battling an eating disorder. And this isn't something that the person has ever felt a need to discuss while actually in the office. But now, given circumstances about being during the kind of coronavirus issue, and they're struggling a little bit more with coping with their mental health and are wondering whether or not this is the right time to articulate that to an HR manager. And I guess this person just really wanted my views on whether this would put them at a disadvantage to have that conversation with their employer, whether they should wait until they're back full-time in the office, or whether they should use this opportunity to say, actually, just to give you the heads up, while I'm working in a remote capacity from you, I am dealing with this mental health issue. What I ended up saying is, I think you've answered your own question. And actually, the very fact that you need to articulate that says to me that you need to discuss this with your employer. Now, what none of us can ever know is how your employer is going to deal with it. And I can sense that an awful lot of people in a furloughed situation are perhaps feeling vulnerable about how short term is this sense of being away from the work environment. Is their job still under threat? So by mentioning your mental health issue, is it likely that you make yourself more susceptible? Should there be future redundancies? None of us can know that. But what I would ask that you consider doing, very, very seriously, and I know a lot of people in HR, I know a lot of people that are line managers and a lot of people that own companies. And I would say the vast majority of them would be extremely compassionate and understanding if you were to share with them how you are feeling at the moment about your mental health and to disclose to them about your eating disorders, behaviours and experiences and where you are with that at the moment and just the level of extra understanding you might be needing. You may be finding it more difficult to jump on group Teams and Zoom calls every 5 minutes. You may be finding it more difficult to deal with your own day-to-day well-being while being away from your workspace and trying to stay on top of your work. Why wouldn't you want to share that with your employer or your HR manager? So my answer to that is yes, you should use this as an opportunity to have that conversation where you feel able to. And obviously, if it helps to point your employer or your HR director in the direction of an organisation like Wednesday's Child and to say, these guys can help you understand more about the mental health issue that I have, then for goodness sake, point them in my direction. Let them know that we can give them that kind of online training and just some conversation about what it means to have an eating disorder and how they, as an employer or an HR director, can provide better support to someone like yourself. So I really hope that helps. And I'd love to know your experiences of dealing with your HR manager or your employer and disclosing about your eating disorder. But I think it's far more important to be authentic about that journey and to let someone in on how you're feeling. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.